Getting ready to sew on your Janome Memory Craft 9700 machine? Need some help threading it, winding the bobbin, and starting to sew? Well, stay tuned, hit the like, and we're going to get right into it. So when you open the top of the machine here, you'll see that this is where we're going to place our spool of thread, right here on the spool pin. So go ahead and take this spool cap off. The thread should be coming from underneath the spool. Then put the spool of thread onto the spool pin, followed by the spool cap to keep it on there. Now we'll take our thread and we're going to wind a bobbin. The bobbin goes underneath, so we need the green thread to be on the bobbin as well as in the top. So that's the first thing we'll do. We're going to bring the thread through this first channel here, and then it's going to come up and around and come to the left, come down around the silver guide, and then come all the way back to the right, like I have it here. See, we're following this little dotted line. That's the path for bobbin winding. When we follow that solid line, it'll be for when we thread the machine here in a minute. So for now, we're going to come up here and then back this way towards the right, so we can wind our bobbin. So take the end of your thread and we're going to put the bobbin on the bobbin winding post. So take the end of the thread and put it through the hole on the bobbin, not in through the outside like you would think, but actually thread it from the inside like this. So put the thread in the hole from the inside of the bobbin so that your thread tail will be sticking up out the top like this. Pull that so there's no slack in the thread. And then click your bobbin down onto the bobbin winding post like that. Now we're going to push the whole post over to the right. That tells the machine it's time to do the bobbin winding instead of the regular sewing. Now I'm going to hold the tail straight up and hit the pedal, and it's going to start winding the bobbin. See how it's winding that green thread onto the bobbin? That way we'll have green on top and green underneath. You can fill it all the way up and it'll stop on its own, or you can stop it whenever you feel like it's enough for your project. Then push the post back over to the left. That tells the machine we're done winding the bobbin, we're ready to sew now. So now you can clip that thread anywhere to separate it from the spool, and then we'll just pull that bobbin off of the bobbin post. Now we're going to thread the rest of it. So take your thread out of that channel that it was in for bobbin winding, and we're going to start over. So take your thread, and now we're going to be following that solid line path. So we're going to come through that first channel again, around that silver guide, and now we're going to come down this first vertical channel here, like that. Okay, and then we're going to come around this part and back up, just like that number 3 shows. Okay, and then we're going to come around the take-up lever and back down. That silver thing is your take-up lever. If you don't see your take-up lever, come over to the side of the machine here, turn this flywheel towards you until the silver take-up lever is visible at the top. So now we'll take the thread and we'll come around that take-up lever. So we're coming up, stay to the right of it, and then come back down to the left of it. So then you might need to hold with your right hand on the spool so that when you pull with your left hand, that thread clicks into the little hole on the take-up lever. There's a little hole on the front of it. Make sure it really went in there. And now come back down that same channel. So number 5 shows a little thing jutting out to the right. That's trying to tell us that we need to bring the thread around that silver guide. So it opens to the right, so just bring it in there like that. It comes straight down. It should just be laying straight. And then there's another silver guide underneath it. So it's right there above the needle, and it actually can go either from the right or the left. They give you both options. So here, I'm going to put it into the right side of the little guide. There we go. Or you can take it and you can put it in the left side. So they actually give you both these options in case you're using a twin needle. You'll actually use both at the same time, but for now you can pick either one. Just make sure your thread's going straight down. Now we're going to thread the needle. You can just thread the needle the old-fashioned way by putting it through the needle's eye from front to back like that, or we can use the needle threader. So to use the needle threader, make sure the needle's in the highest position by turning that flywheel towards you again till it gets to its highest position. Then push down this white lever. Push it down and a little tiny hook is going to go into the needle's eye. That's what's going to make the thread be able to go through the eye. So we'll take the thread around this little white plastic piece that sticks out. Take it around the side of it like that so that you can then lay the thread horizontally. And it's going to be laying into those little plastic parts that are around the needle. So you're going to bring the thread all the way underneath those plastic parts so that it's touching the needle. Bring it backwards so it's touching the needle and then lift it slightly upward. That makes it so the hook is grabbing it like that. Then we're going to let go of the lever and we're going to release our grip on that thread at the same time. As you release the lever, you might have to push it a little backwards if it gets stuck. Then it's going to pull that hook out the back with your thread. So it makes a little loop and then you just have to pull that loop through so that it's no longer a loop. It's just a strand like that. Then we'll put it under the presser foot. So now we can put our bobbin in. This is your throat plate. This is a little door on the throat plate. I'm going to slide that black button over to the right and it's going to make the little door open. The black thing inside there is your bobbin case. That's where we're going to put the bobbin. So take your newly filled bobbin and we're going to put it in. It needs to be going counterclockwise. Don't flip it over and have it go clockwise like that. Make sure it's counterclockwise and look at the picture on the door if you forget. They show you a picture of it going counterclockwise. So just drop that bobbin into your bobbin case like that. And then drag the thread over to the left because it needs to go into that little groove in the silver part of the bobbin case. Just drag it to the left and maybe hold on with your other hand. Hold on to your bobbin like that with your right hand. Drag it over with your left hand so that it locks into that little groove in the bobbin case. Now our last step is that we need to get the bobbin thread to come up through this oval hole under the presser foot here. And we're going to use the needle to go down there and get it. So hold on to your needle thread with your left hand, the one coming out of the needle, then use your right hand to turn the flywheel towards you. As you turn it, the needle's going to go down into the throat plate. Keep turning it till it gets to its highest position and it's going to come back up. See, it swooped over that bobbin thread and grabbed it up. Now give a little tug on that thread that's in your hand and it's going to pull up that loop. See that loop from the bobbin area? Just grab that loop, pull it long again. Now we have a nice long strand of bobbin thread coming through that hole in the throat plate. That's what we want. Now we can put our door back on. So just line up those little tabs on the left side of the door, put those in first, and then press over here on the right side and that'll click in. So now we should be ready to sew. So if you haven't already, go ahead and plug in your power, turn on your power, plug in your pedal over here. If you don't want to use the pedal, you can use that start-stop button. So if we're going to put the fabric underneath the presser foot, there's your presser foot. Reach back here and lower this lever down so the presser foot is always lowered onto the fabric before you start sewing. Then you can take a few rotations by hand first using the flywheel before you hit the pedal. I like to do that just in case. And then after those first couple stitches and everything's okay, you can hit the pedal. There it goes. Sewing like a dream. Once you're all done, you can change your speed control. It'll only go as fast as you set the speed control to. And then you can also press lighter on the pedal to make it go slower. If you have the speed control turned all the way down, even if you floor the pedal, it will not go above this speed. So your speed control controls the top end of your speed, but you still have control on the pedal within that. Over here you can see all your different stitches that you could select. On the screen shows all your basic ones. Let's select a zigzag and try that. So you can see it makes the needle bounce back and forth from right to left to create that zigzag. Looks good. Perfect. Lift the presser foot when you're done. So then you can pull the fabric out to the left and you can cut it. Over here is a thread cutter on the side of the machine. Just bring the threads around the back of that like that. This is your reverse button. That is your lock stitch button. That makes it just do a little stitch in the same spot. And that is your needle up down button that you can use to make the needle go up and down without having to turn the flywheel. This is your storage compartment. You can open this up on the front of the machine and store stuff in there. You'll see they also gave you some storage on top of the machine here as well. If you want to pull the storage compartment off, you can expose your free arm. This way you can do sleeves or pant legs, and it can go underneath the free arm, so then you can more easily sew those kind of things without accidentally sewing them shut. If you look on the back here, we have a switch for lowering your feed dogs. Usually the feed dogs here is what's going to pull your fabric through, but if you wanted to disengage that so that you can control it, to do free motion quilting, you can disengage that there.